أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الذين قالوا ربنا الله ثم استقاموا تتنزل عليهم الملائكة ألا تخافوا ولا تحزنوا وأبشروا بالجنة التي كنتم توعدون نحن أولياؤكم في الحياة الدنيا وفي الآخرة ولكم فيها ما تشتهي أنفسكم ولكم فيها ما تدعون نزلا من غفور رحيم آمنت بالله صدق الله مولانا العظيم اللہ تعالیٰ کے پاک کلام کی تلاوت کی گئی. ابھی جناب اکبر صاحب سے میں درخواست کروں گا حضور کی بارگاہ میں دینات پیش کریں گے انشاءاللہ. اس کے بعد جناب عاصم صاحب جو ہیں وہ حضرت شیخ جو آئے تشریف لائے ہیں ان کا تعارف کرائیں گے آپ کو اور انشاءاللہ بعد میں جیسے پروگرام ہوگا وہ ساتھ ساتھ انشاءاللہ چلیں.
صلی اللہ علیہ یا رسول اللہ وسلم علیک یا حبیب اللہ. سب سے اعلیٰ ہمارا نبی سب سے सहारा हमारा नबी बेकसों का सहारा हमारा नबी सबसे आला आला हमारा नबी सबसे बाला आला हमारा नबी।
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today's program will consist of a lecture by the Sheikh, which will consist of roughly about an hour and a half until Salatul Asr. Thereafter, after the prayers, we'll move on to a question and answer session, and which will probably last until Salatul Maghrib, which is approximately 4 o'clock. And thereafter, inshallah, food will be served. What we're also planning to do is hand a paper around, because we do know that some people are a bit nervous about asking questions, and some of the questions may be difficult to say in front of others. So we've planned to hand a piece of paper and a pen around. So please feel free to write down your questions, whatever you got. If you want to stand up and say them, alhamdulillah, that's fine. But we do ask you to keep the questions onto the subject of today. But if the Sheikh does have time, then you can ask any other questions. We do know that there's a burning topic at the moment with Jerusalem. A lot of people have texted me this morning asking whether they can ask those questions. So if the Sheikh has time, then inshallah he will answer those questions. And just a bit about Sheikh. Sheikh Imran Hosein, and those who are here will know who he is. He was born in the Caribbean island of Trinidad in 1942, where his parents and grandparents were both born in India. He is a prolific scholar of the modern age, teaching this subject, which is known in English as Islamic eschatology. He has lectured in the world both in person, and you will have seen him on YouTube, about Ilm al-Akhir al-Zaman, the signs of the last days. His teacher was Maulana Dr. Fazlur Rahman Ansari, who himself was an outstanding theologian and philosopher of the Muslim world, and the founder of the Alima Institute in Karachi, Pakistan. And he was himself well known for having memorized the Quran at the age of just 6.5. Maulana Ansari himself was taught by Muhammad Abdul Alim Siddiqui, who again was another great scholar of his time, who himself was taught by none other than Sheikh Ahmad Raza Khan, who you will know as Ahmad Raza Khan Bredli. Sheikh Imran, at the age of 29, in the year 1971, graduated from the Alima Institute in Karachi in Pakistan, and has studied through several institutions throughout the world, including the University of West Indies, Al-Azhar in Egypt, and the Institute of International Relations in Geneva, Switzerland. And between the years 1975 to 1985, he's worked as a diplomat for the Foreign Service Officer in the Ministry for Foreign Affairs, which is for the government of Trinidad and Tobago in his home country of the Caribbean. But he has regularly visited Pakistan up until 1985, where he gave up his job to devote his life to Islam. Between the years of 1985 to 1989, he remained in Pakistan, and then in 1989 he moved to the US, where he remained there until 9/11. And after 9/11, 2 weeks after, he left and he returned to his home country of Trinidad. He is the only scholar in the world today who is teaching this subject of Akhir al-Zaman. So I would just ask everyone to listen attentively to what the Sheikh's got to say. Alhamdulillah, it's an absolute blessing for us, a blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for us to have him here in Nelson amongst us. So without any further ado, I'll pass the mic over to Sheikh and he can address.
Alhamdulillah wa kafa. والصلاة والسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى خصوصا على أفضلهم وخاتم النبيين محمد الأمين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وبعد. Respected Imam, brothers in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because it is His rahmah that I can be with you here today in a town called Nelson, about 45 minutes out of Manchester, in Britain. And I want to begin by sharing with you my view, because I am a scholar of international politics and international economics and international affairs, in addition to my studies in Islam, that Britain occupies a very, very important place in Akhir Zaman. In Akhir Zaman. And if you're living here, you're born here, you're living here, and you never studied the history of this island, you never studied the role that this island has played in world affairs. You've never studied the scientific and technological revolution, which is still continuing to this day. It is an absolutely unique phenomenon in human history. Never happened before. You cannot build the foundation for the scientific and technological revolution in modern Western civilization merely on the foundations of what the Arabs produced in science and technology. If you live here and you've never studied an industrial revolution which began in Manchester, I believe, in Manchester, and which swept the world. If you're living here and you've never studied secularism, the secularization of knowledge, the secularization of political philosophy, of economic philosophy, the secularization of gender. You've never studied the feminist revolution which began in this country. If you live in this country and you've never studied what this country has done to money. You know nothing about the Bank of England and when it was established and what was the role it played in the transformation of money. It is inexcusable. The young man living in Pakistan has hardly a chance to be able to master all his subjects. No matter what is the piety in his heart, no matter how energetic is his effort to study, but living in Pakistan, he doesn't have that much of a chance. And if you are here, and you put your head in the sand like an ostrich, and you pretend that modern Western civilization never emerged in history, it's not important. All I have to do is study that kitab and that kitab and that kitab, bas, baat khatam. No, he would have lost a great opportunity. So that's my preliminary comment. And I am 75 years of age, and I don't know how long Allah will keep me, but so long as there is life, so long as I have the health, I have to keep on making the effort, struggling for a new generation of ulama to emerge. And I believe I can be wrong, I have made mistakes in the past. But I believe now, since this is my second visit to Britain for this year, and prior to this I had never come here for 15 years. Suddenly when I arrived here last August, the waves started to hit me, the vibrations, that perhaps it is from this country that a new generation of ulama of Islam will emerge, which will be able to do what our contemporary ulama cannot do, because the Darul Uloom is not established for this purpose. A new generation of ulama can emerge in this country, will be able to return to the Quran, the Book of Allah, and to Nabi Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, to explain the world today, to explain its political reality and its political predicament, to explain economic reality, to explain monetary reality, to explain the feminist revolution, and to explain and to anticipate what lies ahead. The whole rest of the world will watch, dazzled by the scholarship which can emerge. That's your amana. But you have to protect your wives and protect your children. If you're living in a place where there's constant danger, then you have to take your wives and children out into the remote countryside, so that they are protected while you are pursuing knowledge. With this preliminary comment, which I hope may reach into your hearts and you will not forget what I have said, because I am 75 and I've spent all my life in the pursuit of knowledge, and I've probably traveled more all over the world of Islam than any one of you. So I do have some experience. I just came 2 weeks ago from the city of Belgrade in the Balkans. And in Belgrade, they hated Islam. Bitter hatred for Islam. The Ottoman Empire had ruled over Belgrade for 400 years. I never saw an invitation card inviting them to come and rule over the Christians. No. They came as an imperial power. And whenever an imperial power comes, it leaves behind a legacy of hatred and bitterness. And you know about that because you know about India. And you know about the hatred that Hindus have for Muslims today, which is entirely understandable, yes. Because imperialism is something to be rejected. You wage wars of oppression in order to expand your territory. You leave behind a legacy of hatred and bitterness. That is not Islam. So in the Balkans, the Ottoman Empire left a legacy of bitterness and hatred for Islam. And when they defeated the Ottomans and put them out, they destroyed every masjid. Every masjid was destroyed, except for one. They kept one standing. And lo and behold, after all those years of bloodshed and hatred and bitterness, and they took away the biggest cathedral of the Christians. It is like our Makkah, our Kaaba. The Ottomans took it away from them and converted it into a masjid. And that pain and that bloodshed is still in their hearts to this day, that they took away our cathedral. And lo and behold, this is the beauty of Islam, that I could return to Belgrade, as I did 2 weeks ago, and I did 2 years ago. And I receive a welcome from these people of tremendous love, even more love than I find in Nelson. You welcome me here today so nicely, but they welcome me with tears in their eyes in Belgrade. They were weeping. Yes? So I do have some experience in the world. And if you are 17 years of age and you're sitting here today, I'm talking to you, you have an opportunity while you are here. Don't lose that opportunity. Use it so that tomorrow scholars of Islam can emerge who will dazzle the world. Not just dazzle Pakistani scholarship, dazzle the world of scholarship, inshallah. Today is the return of Nabi Isa alayhi salam. An Islamic view of the return of Nabi Isa alayhi salam. It's a very big subject, and it is a subject of absolutely crucial importance if you are to understand Dajjal. Very few people have any knowledge of Dajjal. Very few. I know. And excuse me. And the subject of Dajjal is crucially important for understanding the reality of the world today, yesterday and tomorrow. That's how important is the subject of the return of Nabi Isa alayhi salam. And we begin, it's a very vast subject, so we have to choose what part we will concentrate on. The Quran describes him as Al-Masih. He is Al-Masih. And if you want to go to language and etymology, then Masih is the one who is anointed. Anointed. Anointed because you're going to be the ruler. That's why you're anointed. I think they do it in Westminster Chapel for every new king and queen of England. Anointing, because you're the one who will be the ruler. So Al-Masih. And to understand the context of Al-Masih, he is sent to, not to the whole world. Nabi Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, Ya ayyuhan nas, ba'da'udhu billahi min shaitanir rajim. Ya ayyuhan nas, inni Rasulullah ilaykum jami'a. I am the messenger of Allah sent to all of you. Not just to the Quraysh, but to all of you. But this one, Nabi Isa alayhi salam, he sent only to Banu Israel, to the Israelite people. And he sent to them as Al-Masih. So now we've narrowed down the subject. They were waiting for the Masih because they were told that when he comes, the golden age will return. He will bring back the golden age. We will rule the world once again. So now, in order to understand Al-Masih and his place in history and his role and his mission, we have to return to the golden age to understand. What is that golden age? That golden age commences when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala addresses Nabi Dawood alayhi salam. And I wish someone would have introduced this verse of the Quran to the All India Muslim League. Probably they never read this verse of the Quran. The All India Muslim, not the Khilafat movement. The Khilafat movement knew Islam, oh yes. Oh yes, the Khilafat movement knew Islam. But I don't know about this All India Muslim League. Anyhow, the verse of the Quran is, Ya Dawood, Inna ja'alnaka khalifatan fil ard. O David, Nabi Dawood alayhi salam, we are hereby appointing you to rule, to govern, to establish law on earth. So this is what you call an Islamic state. What the Quran refers to as a Khilafah state. And now, what is the function of a Khilafah state? فَاحْكُمْ بَيْنَ النَّاسِ بِالْحَقِّ. O Dawood alayhi salam, establish your rule, establish your government, establish law on the basis of truth which has come from me, not from the National Assembly. In other words, I am sovereign. I am al-Hakim, and the state must be in submission to me. That is the Khilafah state. وَلَا تَتَّبِعِ الْهَوَىٰ. Don't go pursuing your own agenda, your own political philosophy, your own model of a state. No! فَيَدِلَّكَ عَنْ سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. If you do that, you're going to be misguided from the true path, the way of Allah. إِنَّ الَّذِينَ يَدِلُّونَ عَنْ سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ لَهُمْ عَذَابٌ شَدِيدٌ بِمَا نَسُوا يَوْمَ الْحِسَابِ. Those of you who follow your own agenda, decide for yourself what should be the model of a state. How should you rule and govern? What kind of law should you establish? Remember, you will be misguided and there is terrible punishment waiting for you because you forgot the day of accounts. I wish this ayah alone had been introduced to the All India Muslim League. Yes, but not to the Khilafat movement, because the Khilafat movement knew Islam. Maulana Muhammad Ali Jawhar knew Islam. Maulana Shawkat Ali knew Islam. This was the holy state of Dawood alayhi salam. And the Israelite people chose to refer to it as Holy Israel. I don't see any reason why I should not use the same term that they use. But if you can convince me that I should use another term, fine. But they called it Holy Israel. And then came his son, Nabi Sulaiman alayhi salam, the Prophet Salam. And with him, it became the ruling state in the world. Allah caused it to become a powerful state. And when you study the event of Sabah, ruled by a woman worshipping the sun, you study that chapter of the Quran, you realize that this is the ruling state. And the definition of a ruling state is not that you have control over every square inch of downtown Chicago. No. A ruling state will be one whose power in the world cannot be challenged by any other rival or by any other combination of rivals. That's a ruling state. And so, Holy Israel ruled the world. And the Israelite people ruled the world. And it was that time that they built what they choose to call the temple. But in the Quran it is not temple, although the Quran uses the word church and temple and synagogue and masajid. But the Quran does not refer to it as temple. It does not refer to it as synagogue. It refers to it as Masjid al-Aqsa, which is important for us. You must be careful to notice the choice of words that Allah uses in the Quran. So now we have the golden age. when Israel ruled the world, ruling state. But then something happened dramatically. When Sulaiman alayhi salam died and the golden age ended, what was it? Let me share with you something, because you all recite the Quran, don't you? You do it regularly, don't you? And you recite it in Arabic, don't you? Is there an Urdu Quran? I've never seen an Urdu Quran in my life. Is there an English Quran? I've never seen an English Quran in my life. وَنَعُوذُ بِاللَّهِ مِنْ هَذَا. There's only one Quran, only one. It's in Arabic. And I want to tell you, it cannot be translated. Don't you ever dare say, I have translated the Quran, because the Quran cannot be translated. You can try to explain the Quran, but you cannot translate the word of Allah. Nabi Sulaiman alayhi salam experiences something strange and mysterious. Allah says, Surah Al-Sad, وَلَقَدْ فَتَنَّا سُلَيْمَانَ. We gave to Sulaiman a fitna, something which caused him distress. وَأَلْقَيْنَا عَلَى كُرْسِيهِ جَسَدًا. And we placed on his kursi, for us is chair, but kursi for a king is throne. And we placed on his throne a jasad. A jasad? What's that? A jasad is a body with no soul, no spirit, no sense. When they took the gold and they melted it and they made a golden calf. You know what I'm talking about, don't you? The Quran describes that as a jasad, because it's just golden calf. It has no ruh, it has no nafs. So on this throne now, because the human being sits on the throne, on this throne there is a human being sitting. But this human being is just a shell, a jasad, no ruh, no nafs. ثم أنا, when he saw what he saw, and this appears to be a vision, he turned towards Allah immediately, penitently, because he is in a state of distress. And he immediately made a dua. قَالَ رَبِّ اغْفِرْ لِي. Whenever you want to ask Allah for anything, first seek forgiveness. This is the sunnah. First seek forgiveness, then you ask what you want to ask. قَالَ رَبِّ اغْفِرْ لِي. Nabi Sulaiman alayhi salam said, Oh Allah, kindly forgive me. وَهَبْ لِي مُلْكًا لَا يَنْبَغِي لِأَحَدٍ مِّن بَعْدِي. And grant me the kingdom, this kingdom of mine, that it may belong to none after me. إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ الْوَهَّابُ. You are the one who bestows dua, favors. Now we can understand. When he saw the jasad sitting on his throne in this vision, he recognized that Allah was giving him knowledge of something which is to come in the future. That this jasad will one day attempt to inherit his kingdom, Holy Israel. And he perceived this jasad to be wicked. I don't want this to happen. So when he said, and grant me a kingdom to none after me, the implication is that I am making this dua because I don't want this jasad to inherit holy Israel. Who is the jasad? My book on Dajjal, my first book on Dajjal has now been finished, alhamdulillah, and printed. It's going to be written by the middle of January. But we have a few copies with us. You can't buy it. You can just pick it up in your hand and look at it. We have it outside. In the book, the most important point that I have made in this book on Dajjal and Awwalul Zaman, or Dajjal and the beginning of history, is that the Jasad is Dajjal. The Dajjal wants to rule over holy Israel in Akhirul Zaman. So with the death of Sulaiman alayhi salam, the golden age came to an end. With the death of Sulaiman alayhi salam, in consequence of this dua, قال رب اغفر لي وهب لي ملكا لا ينبغي لأحد من بعدي إنك أنت الوهاب. In consequence of this dua, and Allah accepting the dua, the golden age ended with Sulaiman alayhi salam. But then Allah communicated to them a divine promise that He's going to send someone who will be their prophet, Banu Israel. And with him the golden age will be restored. That is there in the heart of every single one of them. Yes. And so they're waiting now. When will he come? That extraordinary prophet of Allah, who will be the king, the ruler, because he's anointed, Masih. And who, when he comes, will bring back the golden age. When he comes, he will rule the world in a ruling state like the kingdom of Sulaiman alayhi salam. There you are. You've just been delivered the very foundation of Islamic eschatology. That's it. To cut a long story short, because we don't have unlimited time, when Allah did send the Messiah, sent it to them, He sent the Messiah to them in a manner which tested them. And the test that He gave to them is the same test which we are getting now. No difference. That test is based on, it's a big word, don't be scared. In English language they call it epistemology. बहुत बड़ा है. Epistemology. It is simple. It is simple. The modern Western civilization says, these are the only eyes we have. They gave us the scientific method, which says that knowledge comes only from observation and experimentation and rational inquiry. Because these are the only eyes we have. And if knowledge comes from any other source, other than this, external observation and experimentation and rational inquiry, it does not belong to knowledge. It belongs to a place called Disneyland. Already. That's their epistemology. But in the Quran, Allah gives another epistemology. أَفَلَمْ يَسِيرُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ. Will they not travel to the earth? فَتَكُونَ لَهُمْ قُلُوبٌ يَعْقِلُونَ بِهَا. That the dead heart might come alive. And you'll now be able to think the way you never thought before. أو آذان يسمعون بها, and your hearing faculty will come alive, and you'll now be able to hear what otherwise you could not hear. فإنها لا تعمى الأبصار. No, 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 no. It's not these eyes which are blind. ولكن تعمى القلوب التي في الصدور. They don't like this in the university, I tell you that. They don't like this at all. No, it's not these eyes which are blind. What is blind is the heart inside the chest. So Allah has given a different epistemology. That we not only have external sight, but we also have internal sight. But if you go on the wrong path, if you go ripping off people and oppressing people, and worst of all, if you are arrogant, you can't see. You have nothing inside. And they were arrogant. Yes, they said that we are the chosen of the Lord God. We are the elite of mankind. Heaven is reserved for us. No, you're false. إن زعمتم أنكم أولياء لله من دون الناس. If you believe that you are the chosen of the Lord God to the exclusion of the rest of mankind, إن زعمتم أنكم أولياء لله من دون الناس فتمنوا الموت. Why don't you desire death? إن كنتم صادقين. Come on, this is a challenge. If you believe that heaven is reserved for you, come on, why don't you desire death? I was in the United States of America, and they were very important years for me, about 12 years in the United States. And I had this opportunity to engage with the rabbis and with the Christian ministers. More often than not, I would be the only Muslim, because the graduates of the Darul Uloom did not get the education that I got. That's why. And there would be about a dozen rabbis out there, and a dozen Christian ministers out there, and only one solitary Imran, and we're having this dialogue. And I'm green, you know, like a green banana. I'm getting experience I didn't know instantly. So I said to them, if you believe you're truthful, why don't you desire death? If you see the way they responded with so much an outburst of rejection. No. Surprised. Because it was there in the Quran, but I didn't know. إِذْ زَعَمْتُمْ أَنَّكُمْ أَوْلِيَاءُ لِلَّهِ مِنْ دُونِ النَّاسِ فَتَمَنَّوُا الْمَوْتِ. It was there in the Quran, but I didn't know. And when I asked them, why don't you desire death? They exploded against me. This is arrogance. And there is no place for arrogance in the truth. And if you are arrogant, you will have no nur inside of you. And if you have no nur inside of you, you cannot see. So Allah chose to send the Messiah in a manner in which they will be tested, whether you can see or whether you're blind. They should have looked She is the most famous girl in the whole land. She was born in consequence of the dua of her parents. She lived her life in the masjid under the care of the chief rabbi, Zakaria alayhi salam. This is not an ordinary girl. And there was a room in the masjid called the mihrab. Today, this is what we call mihrab, but in the Quran, this is not mihrab. No. In the Quran, the mihrab was a room in which all the holy relics were kept. The holy relics were kept, like the staff of Musa alayhi salam. The burak. There were 2 buraks made of wood, replicas in that room. And it was called the Holy of Holies. But in the Quran it is referred to as the mihrab. And only the chief rabbi could enter in that room, nobody else. No. And because she is under his guardianship, she is also allowed into the mihrab. So the whole of Israel must be very jealous of this little girl. Eh? And when he enters into the mihrab, he finds her with food. Quran does not tell us whether it was biryani or what else it was. But he found her with food. So don't ask me please what food it was, I don't know. And he asked her, Maryam, anna laki hada? Where did you get this food from? And her reply was simple, I just asked and he said it. And the news spread like wildfire all over the land. So this is not an ordinary girl. This is someone with a very, very, very special relationship with Allah. So be careful. Be careful before you open your mouth to say anything about this girl. When she reached the age of puberty, she's no longer a child. She's now a woman. She has the monthly cycle, so she can no longer remain in the masjid. She returns to her mother's home, and then the angel came to her in the form of a human being. So an angel can appear in the form of a human being. You know that. And a jinn can also appear in the form of a human being, because Iblis came as an old man. You know that. Okay. I don't know if you travel Washington, I don't know how many jinn you'll meet out there. Anyhow, when the angel came to her to announce you're going to have a baby girl, a normal 14-year-old will run, scared. But she did not. She stood. This is not an ordinary girl. A big man will run away, scared. She said, how can I have a baby girl? Well, no man has ever touched me. Oh, those were wonderful times, wasn't it? Now in New York, at the age of 14, she's already had 2 abortions already. This is not casual commentary on my part. No, I'm not playing with words. No, I'm giving you the actual world today. She said, how can I have a baby boy when no man has ever touched me? And he said, it's a thing decreed. And then she had the baby. It was summertime when she had the baby. Oh yes, it was summertime, but that's a different story. And she now returns to her people because she had parted from them when she became pregnant. So no one knew she was pregnant. And she is not married. No one knew. If you have pounds and pence in Britain, pounds and pence, or cents. You have dollars and cents or pounds and pence. Right. If you had 5 pence worth of intelligence, in the United States you would say 5 cents. That's a 5 rupiah. You would have thought if she had committed zina and no one knew that she was pregnant. She's committed an enormous sin. She had such a very high status. Then the normal and natural thing for her to do, if she had committed sin, was to try to conceal it. If you had 5 rupiah, that's all of intelligence. But she didn't do that. No one knew she was pregnant. No. And she did not utilize this opportunity to, in New York, you put in a garbage bin. Or you put it in front of somebody's front door, and you run behind a mango tree, and you put the stone on the door, they open to see the baby, and you get rid of the baby. She came back with the baby, holding the baby. She didn't come in the night time, she came in the daytime. She didn't come through a back street, she came through the front door. She didn't put the baby behind her back, she put the baby in front of her. Don't you have 5 rupiah worth of intelligence? And when they spoke to her, she would not speak. She does not defend herself. This, Rabbi, this is not normal behavior, Rabbi. You should have thought 1,000 times before you hurled the slur against her. وَبِكُفْرِهِمْ Allah called it kufr. وَقَوْلِهِمْ عَلَى مَرْيَمَ بُهْتَانًا عَظِيمًا. But she committed adultery, fornication. And so when the baby was born, they could never accept this as a baby, as the Messiah. But she knew that this was the Messiah because the angel informed her. She knew I have the Messiah here. And the reason why she remained silent, the reason why she had the baby in front of her, the reason why she brought back the baby to them, because she knew this was the divine plan to test them. And we've been tested today as well, all of us. Because it's just a matter of time before paper money disappears. It's going to be demonetized. And then after that, it'll be only electronic and digital money, and Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies and so on. And I give it a new name. I call it casino money. Yeah. We've been tested. We were tested 100 years ago in India when they took the gold and silver coins out of the market, which is the money in the Quran and the money in the Sunnah. They took the gold and silver coin. Let me speak slowly so that no one can say in the grave, I did not know. They took the gold and silver coins, which is dinar and dirham, which is in the Quran, which is in the Sunnah. They took it out of the market in Britain. Britain did it in India. And they replaced it with bogus and fraudulent and haram paper money. And there were some ulama, may Allah bless them. Their names have been buried. Nobody cares for them. Their names are forgotten today, but I will not forget them. There were some ulama in India who stood up courageously, but they were like the voice of John the Baptist, Nabi Yahya alayhi salam, a voice crying in the wilderness. Let him listen. And the establishment ulama betrayed us. And the Darul Ulum betrayed us. And the British succeeded. They achieved success. We were blind. We had eyes and couldn't see. And paper money came and took over India. Once they secured victory in India, the rest of the world was open to them. That was the position of India in the world. And now once again, after 100 years, another test. And Allah has kept me alive to see it today. So they failed the test. They rejected it. He was a bastard. But he has not as yet claimed to be the Messiah. And his mother has not said anything that he is the Messiah. When he started performing miracles as a boy, then of course he had to flee. They killed him. Because it's an insult to them that when a bastard child should be able to perform miracles that the rabbis cannot. So he had to flee. And while he was away, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala raised Nabi Yahya alayhi salam. And he is now confirming that the Messiah is coming. He's coming soon. Like we know the Malhama is coming, or Armageddon, the nuclear war. How soon? We don't know, but it's coming soon. And then one day, Nabi Isa alayhi salam returns. But now he's an adult. And when he returns to the Holy Land, we don't know where he was. The Quran merely mentioned Rabwa. And somebody hijacked the word Rabwa and took it with them. But people say he was in Egypt, I don't know. Not important to me. When he returned now to the Holy Land, he went straight to Nabi Yahya alayhi salam. There is a link between Nabi Isa alayhi salam and Nabi Yahya alayhi salam. Don't forget that link. And when Nabi Yahya alayhi salam saw him, I think they were cousins. Nabi Yahya alayhi salam, who is John the Baptist, there he is. This is the man you've been waiting for. This is the Messiah. See, when you have eyes and you can see. Yes. This is the Messiah. And he confirmed, yes, I am the Messiah. And that was a thunderbolt for the Israelite people, because they said he's a bastard. How could a bastard be the Messiah? And then he started to blast them for their arrogance and blast them for having changed the word of Allah. Let me confine myself to only one event. He went into what they call the temple, the Quran calls Masjid al-Aqsa, and he found them engaged in riba. So when I was in that same dialogue with the rabbis and the ministers in New Jersey, I didn't know. I was still like a green fig. So I said they were lending money on interest. Oh, the rabbis were very happy now to jump on my back. And all the ministers, no, Imran, you're wrong. Oh, okay. Well, then tell me, what were they doing? And they let the cat out of the bag. They said to me that the Roman government was minting coins with the Roman emperor's head as a graven image on the coin. And the law of the Torah prohibits that. But if you want to have an animal zabiha to make it halal, you cannot sacrifice the animal yourself. No. You've got to bring the animal to the temple, to the masjid. And a rabbi has to sacrifice it, and you have to pay for it. So they can't pay the temple with Roman money. So the temple was minting its own money. Did you hear that? Masjid al-Aqsa was minting its own money. And I am not going to allow you to forget that at all. Alhamdulillah, that is very important for me. Because if the masjid could do it at that time, it could do it today. Yes. The masjid was minting its own gold and silver coins. And when the people came to the masjid, they had to change from Roman money to temple money. And you know the hadith, don't you? When a transaction is based on an exchange of gold for gold, or silver for silver, or wheat for wheat, or barley for barley, or dates for dates, or salt for salt. This is Nabi Muhammad talking. Then it must be equal for equal. If you have 10 grams of gold of Roman money, it has to be exchanged for 10 grams of gold of temple money. It must be equal for equal. It must be hand to hand, meaning it cannot be a credit transaction. Unless you do that, the Prophet said, this is riba. This is riba. So they were ripping off the people. They were engaged in riba. But I thought they were spending money on interest. And the rabbis and the ministers corrected me, and they were very happy to correct me that day. I tell you that. Thank Allah that they did. So today I can remember what they told me. Thank Allah for that. When they did this, what they did was to change the word of Allah. This is zulm. The Torah says today that it is haram for an Israelite to lend money on interest to another Israelite. But it's halal, you can lend on interest to those who are not Israelites. Huh? This is changing the word of Allah to fill your pocket. Because they were engaged in these kinds of obnoxious and sinful behavior. At the top of our list, of course, is the arrogance. We are the elite of mankind. Heaven is reserved for us and so on. That rubbish. Allah chose to test them, to see whether you could see with the internal eye. And they failed the test. They failed the test at that time. And sad to say, we are also failing the test at this time. Yes. So when they rejected him, they could not stomach that he could be performing miracles which they could not perform. So he had to flee, and when he came back and declared, I am the Messiah, they immediately rejected that claim that he was the Messiah. No, bastard, no, he cannot be the Messiah. And now he's doing the unspeakable. He goes into the masjid and he curses them for the riba. And he turns over their tables and he chases them out of the masjid. Today they will see the terrorist. Yeah? This is not people supposed to behave like this. What kind of man is this? But that is what he did. He chased them out of the temple. And he said, you've taken the house of God and transformed it into a den of thieves. And then they decided, this man must die. So they had the court case against him. And this is the Jewish court. And they sentenced him to death. And then they turned to the Roman government, demanding that he must be executed. The Roman government did not want to do it. No. But they forced the hand of the Roman government. That he must be executed. But he must be executed by crucifixion. Why did they want crucifixion? Because in the Torah it is said that whosoever dies like that is the cursed of the Lord God. So if we can get him to be executed through crucifixion, it will prove beyond the shadow of a doubt, forever and ever, he could not have been the Messiah. I gave you all of this background information to take you to this moment, when the Quran declares, remember, I am building my lecture on the Quran, The Quran declares, وَقَوْلِهِمْ, they're boasting now. إِنَّا قَتَلْنَا الْمَسِيحَ عِيسَى بْنَ مَرْيَمَ Rasulullah. This is sarcasm. Sarcasm. We have killed him. The Messiah. Sarcasm. The Messenger of Allah. Sarcasm. Jesus, the son of that woman, Maryam. Sarcasm. They're boasting now. And since we have seen him die before our eyes, and the whole world present there saw him die before their eyes, he gave up the ghost on the cross. We saw it with our eyes. It is now confirmed conclusively, beyond the shadow of a doubt, he could not have been the Messiah. Why? Because we saw with our eyes. He died on the cross. He was crucified. And so now they wait. Because Allah, when He gives His word, He keeps His word. Washington gives His word, or He breaks the word. But Allah gives His word, He keeps His word. So they're waiting for the Messiah to come. Because he could not have been the Messiah. And then Nabi Muhammad ﷺ came to confirm what Nabi Isa ﷺ had already spoken about, and Nabi Musa ﷺ had already spoken about. That there is someone who will come in history who is known as Dajjal. After they boasted of how they killed him, then Nabi Muhammad ﷺ could add some more and say he is Al-Masih al-Dajjal. He's not just Dajjal, he is Al-Masih al-Dajjal. He is Dajjal who will seek to impersonate the Messiah. Get them to believe that he is indeed the Messiah. And then take them for a ride. And at the end of that ride, they will be destroyed. There is far more to the subject than I could possibly share with you today. But 600 years later, Allah sent the Quran with astonishing information in it. And no one possibly knew about it. Nothing. No one knew. If you and I were there, we would have said, he's dead. Oh yeah, we saw him die. Until the Quran came, no one knew. Allah says, وَمَا قَتَلُوا. No, they did not succeed in killing him. No, they did not succeed in killing him. But we saw him die before our eyes. The Quran says no. وَمَا قَتَلُوهُ. They did not succeed in killing him. وَمَا صَلَبُوهُ. They did not succeed in crucifying him. What is crucifixion? If you put someone on the cross or on a tree and he gives up the ghost, he looks as though he's dead now, and then you take down the body, and when you take down the body, he picks up his briefcase and he walks away. Is he crucified? Huh? If you say he's crucified, I think you should buy a one-way ticket to the moon. If you say that that man was crucified, you should buy a one-way ticket to the moon. Stay there, don't come back. That is not crucifixion, not in the Quran. Because the Quran speaks of punishment for fasad. And one of the punishments for fasad is crucifixion. And crucifixion in the Quran is to be crucified until you die. That is crucifixion. Not that when you take down the body, he picks up his briefcase and he walks away. No, he's not crucified. Come back. He puts you back up. So Allah says no. They did not succeed in killing him. وَمَا صَلَبُوا وَمَا قَتَلُوهُ. That's number one. Number two, وَمَا صَلَبُوهُ. They did not succeed in crucifying him. Number three, وَلَكِنْ شُبِّهَ لَهُمْ. Allah made it appear unto them that this is what happened. Allah is فَعَالٌ لِمَا يُرِيدُ. He can do anything He wants to do. So Allah made it appear to them that He was crucified. But He was not. Well then, what happened? Whenever we interpret the Quran, we must have the good sense to always say, Allah knows best. Why? You could make a mistake. Only Allah doesn't make mistake. But in Britain they told me, only Allah, the Queen, doesn't make a mistake. So if we interpret the Quran, we never proclaim this as the truth. No, we can make a mistake, but we have the right to interpret the Quran, provided we say Allah knows best. In Suratul Zumar of the Quran, Allah tells us, before that, Suratul Nahl of the Quran, Allah says that He sent this Quran to explain all things. Tibyanan likulli shay. And so there must be an explanation in the Quran for what happened. Okay? In Surah Al-Zumar of the Quran, Allah speaks about death, maut. And He says, Allah yatawaffa al-anfusa hina mawtiha. Allah takes the nafs at the time of maut. Allah takes the self, nafs is self, ruh is spirit or soul, and body is badan or jism. Allah yatawaffa al-anfusa hina mawtiha. Allah takes the self, which is the essential human being, because the soul does not stand before Allah for judgment. No. And the body does not stand for judgment. In fact, the body will speak against us. So Allah yatawaffa al-anfusa mina mawtiha. Allah takes you at the time of your death. At the time of mawt. وَالَّتِي لَمْ تَمُتْ فِي مَنَامِهَا. For those who do not experience maut while they are awake, Allah takes the nafs while they are asleep. You first have to withdraw the ruh, because the ruh is the life-giving force. And when the ruh is removed, then the nafs cannot live in the body. So then Allah takes the ruh, the nafs, during the sleep. This happened to you last night, probably. فَيُمْسِكُ الَّتِي قَضَى عَلَيْهَا الْمَوْتِ. And for those for whom maut is written, Allah keeps the nafs. وَيُرْسِلُ الْأُخْرَى إِلَى أَجَلٍ مُسَمَّى. And for those for whom maut is not written, Allah then returns the nafs to the body. Incidentally, during that time, when the nafs is away from the body, but Allah has not as yet ordained that it will not return. The body has to be kept alive. It therefore needs some energy to keep it alive. And sunlight is a source of energy. Do I need to say anything more? You know what I'm talking about now? وَنُقَلِّبُهُمْ ذَاتَ الْيَمِينِ وَذَاتَ الشِّمَالِ. The body, you know what I'm talking about, don't you? Huh? You have to recite the Quran. Allah was rolling their bodies to this side because the sunlight entered the cave in the morning, and then rolling the bodies to the other side because the sunlight entered the cave in the evening. I can see those who've been reciting the Quran, they're shaking their heads, and others are not shaking their heads. So, there is no way, no scientific way that you can determine that that person is still alive. The only way you can know for certain that that person is dead is when the body starts to get cold and decompose. Then you know he's dead. So if there is an arrogant one amongst us, may Allah grant it's not from you, from me, and Allah wants to punish him. Allah can take the roof out and the nafs. But Allah has not as yet ordained maut. So they say, well, he is dead. And they give the ghusl, and they make janazah, and then they buried him, and they forgot to put a cell phone. Then Allah returned the ruh and the nafs. And he wakes up. The place is very dark. He's not accustomed to this. He calls out to his wife, Dulhan, Dulhan. No answer, where is she? He tries to get up. I can't get up, the space is too small. Where am I? He's getting confused now. Totally confused. Pitch dark. Dulhan kahan hai, pata nahi. And I can't get up in this place. What is this box? What is this place I am? What kind of clothes? I can go to sleep in this clothes. Little by little, he will begin to realize he's in his grave. He's in his grave. May Allah protect us from that punishment. Oh, that is a terrible, terrible, terrible punishment. Yes. You're not as yet dead. The angels are not yet coming to question you. You will now die in your grave. That is punishment. So now, based on this verse of the Quran explains all things. We no longer therefore have to turn to that what I consider to be a sinful explanation. Sinful explanation. They call it the theory of substitution. And may Allah protect me from that. I will never say that is what happened. No. That Allah, وَنَعُوذُ بِاللَّهِ مِنْ هَذَا, He causes someone else to assume the appearance of this man who claimed that he was the Messiah, and he caused that man to assume the appearance of this man. That man never claimed to be the Messiah. He could have done many other things, but he did not claim to be the Messiah. And now he is crucified for something he never claimed. That is injustice. That is plain and clear injustice. And to attribute an act of injustice to Allah, oh, that is terrible. There is nothing in the Quran to support the view that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala caused someone to assume the appearance of Nabi Isa alayhi salam. And then that man is held and he is crucified. And he never claimed that he was the Messiah. So I reject that view. But he is there in a place called the Gospel of Barnabas. And guess where the Gospel of Barnabas came out from? You know? The Vatican. That's right. It came from the Vatican. And that's where you get your knowledge from. Well then, if we reject this view, and it is a sinful view, and if you hold this view after this lecture, prepare to answer in the great way, because you are attributing to Allah an act that was unjust. Then the only other explanation, which is the one with whom I am satisfied, but when I give an interpretation, you should never accept my view unless you are convinced that I am correct. When they put him on the cross, Allah sent the angel to take the ruh and the nafs. And so they saw him give up the ghost. But they did not know that Allah had not ordained Mount. They did not know that. They took down the body and they performed the janazah and the Israelite janazah, and they put the body in a cave and they sealed the cave. Then Allah returned the ruh, and with the ruh the dust. And so they did not kill him. They did not crucify him. Allah made it appear like that. And no one knew for 600 years until the Quran came down. And then Allah raised him. And since Allah says, Kullu nafsin za'iqatul maut, every soul must taste maut. Every nafs must taste maut. He has to taste maut. And so based on the verse of the Quran, he has to return and to face maut, which he has not as yet faced. Nabi Muhammad ﷺ is the most powerful voice in history to have prophesied that Nabi Isa ﷺ will return. And this is the first time I have turned to the hadith. Everything so far has been the Quran. And that's the way you must build your foundation of thought. Build it on the Quran and let the hadith support the Quran. Don't build it on the hadith and then search in the Quran for support. Build it from the Quran and then turn to the hadith for what you can use to support it. When Nabi Isa alayhi salam returns, inshallah, the Quran declares, and with this we will end our talk. What surah it is? وَإِنَّهُ لَعِلْمٌ لِلسَّاعَةِ Muhammad. Surah to Muhammad. The Quran came down to the heart of the Prophet ﷺ. So what came down to the Prophet did not have punctuation. Correct? The punctuation came afterwards by human beings. What came down from Allah did not have punctuation. So the ayah that we now have with this new punctuation is وَإِنَّهُ, and the context here is Nabi Isa alayhi salam, وَإِنَّهُ لَعِلْمٌ لِلسَّاعَةِ, that with him he is the knowledge of the Sa'ah. This is in conflict with the Quran. This is in conflict with the Quran. But there is no internal contradiction in the Quran. The Quran is very plain and clear. The knowledge of the hour is only with Allah. Not even with Nabi Muhammad ﷺ, only Allah. And imagine my surprise when a Christian, an Orthodox Christian, sent me an email directing my attention to something in the Bible, in the Gospel, that the knowledge of the Allah is only with the Father, the Son doesn't know. Yeah. The Son does not know, the Father knows. This is in the Gospel. And this is also in the Quran. That only Allah has the knowledge of the hour, no one else beside Allah. So if you read the ayah like this, وَإِنَّهُ لَعِلْمٌ لِلسَّاعَةِ, then I want to say to you, there is a contradiction with the Quran. There is another way in which it can be read, وَإِنَّهُ لَعَلَمٌ لِلسَّاعَةِ. Alamun and ilf is the same word, but there's a punctuation difference. If you say وَإِنَّهُ لَعَلَمٌ لِلسَّاعَةِ, then he is a sign of the hour. He is the most important sign of the hour. But this is for you to think about. I am not telling you what to do. You must study the subject. It is for me a conflict, internal conflict in the Quran, to say that he is the knowledge of the hour. وَإِنَّهُ لَعِلْمٌ لِلسَّاعَةِ, because that is in conflict with the Quran. When Nabi Isa alayhi salam is to return, Allah will first send the Dajjal. Which maybe when next I come I can lecture on Dajjal, inshallah. And when the Dajjal has completed his mission and has declared from Jerusalem, I am Al-Masih, and taken them for a ride, only after that will Imam al-Mahdi emerge first, and then Nabi Isa alayhi salam will return and he will kill Dajjal. And then the truth will triumph over all rivals, and justice will prevail over injustice and oppression, and they'll be taught a lesson in the Holy Land who are now oppressors in the world. And we pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala may guide us on the right path and protect us from error. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا يا مولانا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين آمين. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, brothers, and sisters, what we're going to do, we're going to pass around the pen and paper now for everyone to start jotting some questions down. We've got just enough time just before Salat al-Asr, and straight after we've prayed Asr, then Sheikh can start answering the questions. Again, we ask you if you could please try and keep it to the topic, but if there are any other questions, if you could please put them in a square box so we can identify that these are other questions, and then inshallah we can ask the Sheikh to answer them. Jazakallah.
I said this is my opinion, my interpretation, and I warn you not to accept unless you are convinced. Did I do that? Correct.
The Christian version, so I read that the master met the disciples.
The Christian version is that he died and that he was resurrected. The Muslim version is that he never died. There are lots of other similarities, but this is a fundamental difference. They say he died, we say he did not die. But no one knew. If you and I were there, we would have said he's dead. Yeah. Until the Quran was revealed 600 years later, no one could possibly know what happened. So don't blame them. Don't blame them. In order for them to accept the view that he did not die, you have to first begin the process by getting them to show more respect and appreciation for the Quran. That's the beginning of the process. You don't go with a hammer, pounding their heads, take the Shahada, no. Get them to come towards the Quran in a more positive way. That's the first step. And my book, Methodology for the Study of the Quran, is meant to help the Christian and the Jew to adopt a more positive attitude towards the Quran. Okay? Then comes the second stage, when they may accept, yes, we accept that the Quran is the word of the God, of one God. You don't go with a hammer on your head, come on, take the Shahada, take the Shahada, take the Shahada. No. No. When they accept the Quran as the word of God, and they still declare they are Christians, you should be happy. Happy! No, you want to convert them. That is not wise, that is not wisdom. 5 rupees worth of wisdom. First try to get them to have a positive attitude towards the Quran, which is why I wrote my book on methodology. Then secondly, get them to start to, some of them to accept that the Quran is the word of God. I just went to Belgrade twice, and already now I'm finding there are Orthodox Christians who are now saying, yes, we accept the Quran as the word of God. Yes. They are saying that. Alhamdulillah, tomorrow there will be more and more and more and more. And I have never said, come on, take the Shahada, because I'm not a fool. I'm not a fool. You have to do it with wisdom. Yes. You have to do it with wisdom. I prefer to have the Christian as a Christian and my friend and my ally, and accepting the Quran as the word of God and the Prophet Muhammad, the Prophet, and remaining a Christian. Because for me that is strategically more important, to have an alliance between the Muslim world and the Orthodox Christian world to confront a common enemy. Yes. So my answer to you is that, I've forgotten your question. The Christian version and the Muslim version that I have offered today, yes, it does have some similarities, but there is this fundamental difference that they say he died and was resurrected, and the Quran says no, he never died. Yeah. I have not found any verse of the Quran with which I can answer that question. No. I have not found any hadith with which I can answer that question. So you're going to have to accept that I cannot answer that question. Yeah. 12 years. Yeah. No, I was 2002 in Sydney in Australia. I gave that lecture, 2002. Okay. Okay. ذلك فضل الله يؤتيه من يشاء. Yeah.
I understand those
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, and woe unto those who forget it. It says that He sent down the Quran, لِقَوْمِ يَتَفَكَّرُونَ. He sent down the Quran to a people who will think. Put on your thinking cap and study this Quran. So He didn't send down the Quran for schoolboys. No. You have to first go to the Quran to find out from the Quran what is money. Whether you are a member of the Jama'ah, or you are Maulana, or you are Sheikh, or Mufti, it is to the Quran you will go first of all to find out what is money. And when you go to the Quran to study the Quran to find out what is money, if you read my book on methodology for the study of the Quran, which is outside, Allah says in the Quran, وَلَقَدْ زَيَّنَ السَّمَاءَ الدُّنْيَا بِمَصَابِيحَ, and we have caused the stars in the sky to be functioning like lamps. A lamp is something with light to show you the way. So the stars are not up there only for beauty. No, the stars are up there to show you the way. For the fellow on a ship in the ocean, to know the way by looking up at the stars, he has to be able to read the stars. Huh? And you cannot read the stars until you know how they are all interconnected with each other. Then you can know which direction. The verses of the Quran are like the stars in the sky. You can't study the Quran piecemeal. No. You have to go to the whole book and extract from the book all that is relevant to a particular subject. And then you have to bind them together to form a harmonious whole like the stars. And only then will you get what the Quran is saying on a particular subject. This is what you have to do on money. Okay, but I have done several lectures on money. So I don't have to do it again today. Just go to my YouTube channel, or if you don't, there's a book outside called The Gold Dinar and Silver Dirham, Islam and the Future of Money. What I can tell you is that cryptocurrencies, digital money, electronic money, and remember that 15 years ago I was saying that this will come. And I'm living now to see it's coming. This is the ultimate test for you, to see whether you can see or you're blind. And those who are blind will end up in slavery. That's it. You'll be enslaved and there'll be no way out of that slavery. None. You have a little time left between now and then. A little time. All of your money is in the banking system. Once they snap the lock, that's it. Your money is trapped. You can only transfer one account to another, you can't take it out. And any time they want to take money out of your account, they can take it without your permission. Anytime they want to freeze your account, they can do it. You cannot even buy chicken tikka. Chicken tikka, you can't even buy it. Naan you can't buy. Huh? And, one second. And anytime they want to close your account, they can close it. So the sensible thing to do is to return to the Quran and Sunnah. Return to the Quran and Sunnah. Let me say one more time. If you have any sincerity in your heart, if you have any love for Allah, if you have any love for the Prophet ﷺ, and you're not a hypocrite, then you have to return to the Quran and Sunnah. Get gold and silver coins. Preserve your wealth in gold and silver coins. You could also do it in land and in animals. And try to build a market. All the Muslim shops here in Nelson, all of you, should be willing to accept dirhams. You can buy and sell using dirhams, and this way you'll be able to survive. Concerning the theory of substitution, who brought it? When did they bring it? I don't know. However, if you choose to accept the theory of substitution, that is your right. That is your right. However, my duty as your brother is to tell you to prepare, that you'll have to answer. Because what you are saying is that Allah caused someone to assume the appearance of Nabi Isa alayhi salam. If that is not true, you're going to be in trouble. The only thing that you have to support yourself is lakin shubbiha lahu. That's all, nothing else. That's the thing. And that is not a foundation for having to say this, that Allah caused someone to assume the appearance of Nabi Isa alayhi salam, and that man is crucified. That's an act of injustice. I have offered my interpretation, but I have warned you, do not accept it. Unless you are convinced that I'm correct. Is there anything more I can do than that? I don't think there's anything more I can do than that, okay? You have been blessed by Allah with the capacity to think. You must think. You must decide. Okay, on Ghazwa ul Hind, I have never commented and I am not going to comment. Next question. Yes, mutawafika. The question is, could you kindly explain the term wafat? Wafat in Tawafik. It is there in Surah Al Imran. It is there in Surah Zumar. Allah yatawaffa al-anfusa hina mawtiha والتي لم تمت في منامها فيمسك التي قضى عليها الموت ويرسل الأخرى إلى أجل مسمى. That's the first one. But is there also in Surah Al Imran? Is there also in Surah Al Ma'idah? Okay? Wafat in the context in which it appears in these three verses, in that context, it is the taking of the soul and the spirit at the time of Maut. That's why we have the dua, Allahumma firli hayyina wa mayyitina wa shahidina wa ghaibina wa saghirina wa kabirina wa zakarina wa unthana. Allahumma man ahyaytahu minna fahyihi ala al-Islam wa man tawaffaytahu minna fatawaffahu ala al-Iman. So it is the taking of the ruh and the nafs at the time of Maut. That is wafat. Except that the Quran goes on to say that there is a wafat which takes place which does not necessarily imply Maut. And that is wafat at the time of now. So not all wafat is mouth. Unless you want to close your eyes to the Quran. Since the Quran has told us that there is a wafat which is not mouth. فَيُرْسِلُ الْأُخْرَى إِلَى أَجَلٍ مُسَمَّى. This is the only possible explanation there in this ayah I can find, which offers a Quranic explanation of what occurred when they claimed that they crucified Nabi Isa alayhi salam. But this is my interpretation. Wafat is to take the soul, that is the ruh, and the nafs at the time of maut. That is wafat. In the context in which the word wafat occurs in these three ayat. Okay? Next. There are several commentators of the Quran, including Muhammad Asad, for whom I pray that Allah might forgive him, because he's my brother, he's a very learned man, and we consider him to be a very sincere learned man, who translated the Quran, and for that you're going to have to answer on Judgment Day, that the Quran says we cause you to die. Ya Isa, inni mutawaffik, I will cause you to die. That is his translation. This is the mistake you make when you take a verse of the Quran by itself, stand alone, and you ignore proper methodology. And proper methodology, you find it there in my book on methodology for the study of the Quran. Never take any verse of the Quran in isolation by itself. No. You must go to all the verses of the Quran pertaining to that subject, and then try to combine them all into a harmonious whole. And then you will locate the system of meaning on the subject. Then and only then you realize that this does not say, I will cause you to die. No. Some people are illegally packed. Motorcars. We don't have the numbers of the motorcars. If you are illegally parked, go and move your car quickly before you lose your car. Okay, I left out at the end of the lecture because we were running out of time for Salat. I left out, I had begun with the Golden Age, which is the age of Nabi Dawood alayhi salam, Nabi Sulaiman alayhi salam, the holy state which became the greatest state, the ruling state, and the masjid built. And this was the Golden Age. I defined for you what was the ruling state. And then I said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promised Banu Israel that the Golden Age will return, meaning when the Masih comes, Messiah, that he will one day rule the world again. And when he rules the world, he will do so from the holy state. The holy state, and they call it the holy state of Israel. I see no reason why I should not also do the same. That the holy state of Israel will become once again the ruling state. Okay? When Nabi Isa alayhi salam returns, and the most powerful voice in history to have prophesied that he will return is the voice of Nabi Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. The Prophet said that when he comes back, he will come back as Hakimun Adil. A Hakim is a ruler. He's coming to rule, to govern. The Hadith also says that Imam al-Mahdi will govern and rule. But of course, the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said about Nabi Isa ﷺ that he's coming to return as a ruler. Could they both be rulers? Could they both be rulers? If you look at Iran today, you will see that they call him the Rahbar, the Ayatollah Khamenei. He is the spiritual leader of Iran, but he controls the armed forces. He has a lot of power. And then you have the president of Iran. Okay? I do not know what will be the relationship in the power equation between Nabi Isa alayhi salam and Imam al-Mahdi, because we do not have the information in the Quran, we do not have the information in the Hadith. So when we offer an opinion, that's all it is, an opinion. Maybe by looking at the Iranian model, you can see that there is one who is a spiritual leader and one who is a temporal leader. And this is precisely the view that the Jews and the Christians also have here. The question is, when he comes back, it will be the return of the golden age. And the truth will triumph over all rivals. But then the world is going to descend into total chaos again, and then there'll be the end of the world. How do we explain this transformation in such a quick period of time? The Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, and this is a hadith which must disturb us a lot. After Nabi Isa alayhi salam dies, and he is buried next to Nabi Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, sometime after, we don't know how long, a gas will come out of the sky, and all those who breathe in that gas and who have even a grain of a mustard seed of faith in their heart will die. And so all that will remain in the world after that will be scum. Nothing. So if after that you see Maulana Sahab, which is Topi, and his Dari, and he's giving learned lectures on Quran and Hadith, you know the implication. It's only words. It's only words. There's nothing inside. Not even a grain of a mustard seed of Iman in that heart. That's the warning for us after that gas comes out. Therefore it is now easy for us to understand. We don't know what is the time lapse. We don't know. Only Allah knows. After the death of Nabi Isa alayhi salam and the end of the world, we do not know what is the time lapse. What we do know is that this event will take place. And after that only the scum will be left on the earth. And at that time people will be having sexual relations in public like donkeys. Like donkeys. When will Imam al-Mahdi come? Will he come after the Malhama? I think my book Jerusalem in the Quran was published in 2002, so that's 15 years ago. And maybe some of you may have read it. It's also there on the internet, you can read it on the internet. In that book, I argue that until Dajjal has completed his mission of impersonation of the true Messiah, and has taken the Jews for a ride, Imam al-Mahdi will not be sent by Allah. Imam al-Mahdi does not come of his own will. It is Allah who chooses the time that he emerges. Okay? He's there, and he's in Medina. In the Quran, Medina is Yathrib. And Allah will cause him to come out of Yathrib and hurry to Mecca, because the Khalifa will die, which is Sahih Muslim. I have interpreted the Khalifa here to mean a ruler. A ruler, anyone who is a ruler, Khalifa. Hizb ut-Tahrir differed with me, and Hizb ut-Tahrir came to the conclusion that this hadith indicates that the Khilafah state will be restored before Imam al-Mahdi emerges. But my view is different, no. I said the Khalifa or the ruler who will die will be a Saudi king. And when the Saudi king dies, it's going to be Tamasha, Jaga. There will be disagreement concerning succession. I think the evidence is now plain and clear. Absolutely plain and clear. Once Salman dies, oh yes, it's going to be Jagra. Once Salman dies. Because there's a lot of opposition to the schoolboy. The schoolboy, you know him, Muhammad bin Salman, the schoolboy. There's a lot of opposition to him. Oh yes, he's treated his uncles, he's treated his elders, he's treated his cousins with absolute contempt. Yes, that's how he treated them. So you can imagine the amount of disagreement there's going to be when Salman dies. And I believe this is what our Prophet is talking about. Right? How long will the disagreement continue? We don't know before the Imam al-Mahdi emerges. But Dajjal must first declare that he is al-Masih before Allah will send Imam al-Mahdi. And Imam al-Mahdi must first come before Nabi Isa alayhi salam will come. Let me leave with you one more prophecy. Those of you who have been listening to me will of course have heard it from me 100,000 times already. It is a prophecy of Nabi Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam in the Sunan of Abi Dawood. And he said, Imran Bayt al-Maqdis Kharabu Yathrib, using the analogy of construction, not actual construction. When Jerusalem is built up, meaning center state flourishing, because it's analogical. Kharabu Yathrib, not that Yathrib will be in ruins, no. Yathrib will have no status in the world. Analogical explanation through the use of construction. Kharabu Yathrib Khurujul Malhama, that when Yathrib is in that state of no status at all in the world, then expect the Malhama or Armageddon, the Great War. That's where we are now. When will they come? Soon. How soon? I don't know. That's a sensible answer, isn't it? I'm not going to tell you it's going to happen in 2018, 2020. No. It's soon. How soon? I don't know. I have no comment at all to make on Ghazwatul Hind. Please ask someone else, not me. Okay. Khuruj al-Malhama, Fathul Constantinople. So, the Prophet ﷺ is using the name Constantinople for the city. And hence it is Sunnah to use the name Constantinople. Does anyone differ with me? Does anyone differ with me? Huh? And so it is very mysterious, that Mustafa Kemal should have not only changed the name from Constantinople to use a previous name, but has banned the use of the word Constantinople. You could be charged and arrested in Turkey if you refer to the city as Constantinople. The conquest of Constantinople prophesied by Nabi Muhammad ﷺ comes after the Malhama. Has the Malhama occurred as yet? Maybe I was sleeping when it happened. Huh? Tell me, has it occurred as yet? No. But the Turkish people? the Muslims of Turkey and of the Balkans, Bosnia and Albania and Macedonia and Montenegro. They all believe that the prophecy of the conquest of Constantinople by Nabi Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam already took place in 1453 when Sultan Muhammad Fatih conquered the city. That's it. That's a lot of brainwashing, yeah? 500 to 600 years. It takes a lot of soap and a lot of water out to clean out that brainwashing. Because he said, Khuruj al-Malhama, Fathul Constantinople. The next event to take place after the Armageddon or the Malhama is the conquest of Constantinople. And then finally he said, Fathul Constantinople, Khuruj al-Dajjal. The Dajjal will not appear in human form, this Jasad. This Jasad with intelligence programmed externally, so artificial intelligence. This Jasad claiming to be the Messiah will not appear in human form until the conquest of Constantinople. So, how can Imam al-Mahdi be involved in the conquest of Constantinople? Where is the evidence? Imam al-Mahdi cannot emerge until Dajjal has completed his mission. Yeah. Okay, that's it.
اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى اله وصحبه عليه. اللهم ربنا يا ربنا تقبل منا انك انت السميع العليم وتب علينا انك انت التواب الرحيم. صلى الله تعالى على رسوله محمد وعلى اله وصحبه اجمعين.